We're going all in on the building meme, and we are going to build.
Grab it. Drag G out.
Okay, I need one lat.
That's like medic.
I need a lat.
Welcome into Squad Ops One Life events. Tonight we've got Sleeping Serpents Part 2. I'm Bcarr. In the background is Shadowed Ritual running the streams, making the multicam footage possible. We got our regularly scheduled toy back, our regularly scheduled stream box. So that means more point of view streams to showcase on the stream. Yada, yada, yada. We will be starting soon here on Sleeping Serpents Part 2. We played Part 1 earlier today, and it was fun. It was a lot more open-ended than this is going to be. However, this has got some potential to be pretty rough going. Especially when you're considering that there's only 2 bridges to cross and only 2 bridges, and that's the only way you can cross. And you have to pick one.
Solid copy.
And you have to commit to that one.
Fire teams.
It's interesting. Let's go over, first, before we go over the operation, let's go over who's doing what. HML is going to be commanding Russia first. His SLs are Silent, Axe Gaming, Shookheart, and Hero.
7 hours 30
Pony is going to be commanding British first. His squad leads are Londarts, Rose Dragon, Phoenix, and Expit. Expit was my co-commentator for session 1 today. It's also his operation. He came up with this completely by himself. Or, I don't know. He puts his name on it and no one else's, so we just assume he does all the work for it. But earlier this afternoon, we had an operation that involved a dice roll. This one's more of like coin flip, but there's some interesting rules that sort of make the coin flip a
14.5, not the
what's the word I'm looking for? A doozy. Coin flip's a doozy. Well, we'll just go with that. All right. Let me pull up the operational specs and we can walk you through what's going on.
If you could spawn another one in or something.
So, there are 2 bridges. There's the North Bridge and the Radio Bridge on this map right here. Russia gets to start. They get to start at their main base on the red side of the map, which is the west, their controlled area. British start on the east, the southeast. They start at their main, or actually they don't start at their main. They start at somewhere else, actually. They get there's some sort of timer. They get to basically build the defense on the fly of one of those 2 bridges. The British will know which bridge the Russians are going for ahead of time, but by like 2 minutes. They get like 10 minutes before live to build and move to the bridge location that Russia is going to cross. What's crazy about this is we break even more rules, typical rules, when we talk about defending this bridge, because you can mine bridges, which is something we don't typically do in squad ops. These mines can't be dug down, but they can be mined. I believe you can place 2 mines on the bridges, and we can block the route entirely, or British can block the route entirely with barbed wire. They can use 10 placements of barbed wire to help block the bridge. And those are things we typically don't do because it's just lame. But in this particular situation, the scenario calls for it, and it's very, it's more about it's more balanced towards the defenders, obviously, because as Russia, I would just roll across the bridge if I knew it was clear. And of course, clearing the bridge of mines is one thing, but having to constantly, clear a bridge and have multiple support positions against British, which have to stay on their side of the bridge to start with, but can cross the bridge or cross the river rather at any point once they're engaged. There's a lot of scenarios for where a British counterattack could be extremely helpful. However, there's a BTR in the way. Russia gets a BTR 80 along with a Logi and 2 transport trucks, and they're allowed a mortar base. British are allowed, 2 transport trucks and 3 logistics trucks. So it's a lot of stuff to build with, but not a lot of materials in the grand scheme of things, especially when you consider they get to put down a tow. Tows are extremely expensive to deploy, especially if you miss. Last session, someone missed a 150-meter shot with a tow on a they led a target that was moving that stopped in the middle of them shooting and firing. But costs 500 ammo to reload the tow. And it's expensive. And you only got 3 trucks of Logi to use, so it's pretty rough.
Alright, so everyone knows what they're doing, right?
There is a live countdown right now. Since British left Maine, there was a live countdown. I'm not entirely sure when that is, but we will get that time to you momentarily. I'm sort of trying to keep my ears into Russia comms, Russia command comms to try to figure out what's going on. You'll see the British in red. Russia will be in blue. Typically, when we broadcast, we try to keep offensive teams in blue, defensive teams in red. Yeah, that's just sort of how it worked out for today. And here's the thing, Russia gets to choose the bridge, and that's the only bridge that vehicles can use to go across, either for British or Russia. No other bridges, once Russia chooses their bridge, no other bridge counts. No other bridge counts. We are still waiting. I'm still waiting on verification for live. All right, so we got a couple minutes. 7:33 and 40 seconds. So it's usually weird. We try to call live times as close to, the minute as possible. 7:33:40. coming up on a minute to go.
Someone else, just speak up. 2 minute warning, guys. We're ready, Ashby.
Based on the location of the British defense, we're on a radio bridge. The British already have indication of what bridge Russia's going to use, because once they get to decide, they get the information of what bridge they're coming to, and they get 10 minutes to assemble the defense of the bridge and its surrounding area. Once they move out from Maine, that 10 minutes begins. So, since British are basically here, and for the past few minutes they've been assembling sandbags and barbed wire. Let's zoom in on some of the base defenses that we've been seeing, and the defenses aren't enclosed. Well, there's a mine there, you can see. Mines can be placed on the bridge, and there's actually a mine on the bridge. And we're live. Let's continue taking a look at the British base here. As Russia's moving out, we'll give you an update on them in just a second. Based on the fact that your vehicles have to come out of here, I imagine the tow is probably looking straight up the road. And when you know it, that looks like a tow. Got Ops Lanny in the tow right now. It's 500 ammo for a shot. And there's plenty of places for him to hide if he has to. The sandbags right beside him is a good place to run and dash. Of course, you know, let's hope the BTR doesn't snipe him first. Although I wouldn't actually, you know, if I didn't see the BTR and I saw a bunch of infantry clumped up, I'd use that thing anyway. If you killed multiple infantry with a tow missile launcher and you still had enough ammo to reload it, I mean, hell yes. I would embarrass people. I would embarrass the enemy by telling them they have bad spacing by doing exactly that.
Yeah, you missed it. We added all that.
All right, let's take a look at the map here. Russia kind of split up, actually. Their BTR with their lodges seem to be coming out of Delta 4 going to Echo 5. Maybe they're using the highway. The transport just went straight south out of Russia, Maine.
Dismounting at Neva proper. That's where we're going to be dismounting.
Looks like they're going to be hopping out of Neva.
As long as we're not too close to the river.
The Russians are on their way.
Yeah, I remember them getting pretty freaking long.
They're all hanging out in transports. Let's take a minute to breathe before contact happens.
In the meantime, try to stay hidden until we know where they're at.
Look at that cluster of mines.
Alright, squad lead alpha set.
They're gonna have a hell of a time trying to get along.
Alright.
And by take a minute to breathe, I mean have another 2 or 3 bites of pasta. But, you know.
Park it behind those rocks.
Some people breathe, some people eat pasta. I'm doing both at the same time and talking to you. So far, so good. We got some dismounts. Russia's dismounted looks like a squad plus in, I guess that's Neva? I don't think it's the name of that town. Echo 11. The BTR, however, along with both lodges. Dismounted troops, and they're getting ready to set up a siege.
You ran over our FTL. Alright, come to the right.
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for the tow. They want to saturate that thing with some mortar fire. All right, Bcarr finding some contact here.
All right, stay low.
Looks like he's found a roadblock.
By the angle carefully, but they're directly 097. A little bit more.
Oh, that's...
Oh, I see. Alright, alright.
That looks weird. Am I losing my mind?
Okay, 3, we'll keep going east a bit.
British have spread out their guys quite well. They've got sandbags and squad leads, or at least someone watching the opposite bank all times.
This means that the fob is closer to the southeast side than the northwest side.
Okay.
No eyes on confirmation.
We're moving directly east to the India column first. 3, if you want to follow us. If you want to let us pass you.
Roger that, holding.
Use their razor wire if they're near the objective.
The Russians... Ooh. Have these guys already crossed the river?
We waited for a half hour.
Yes, they crossed the river at the southern town. So that's 2 squads.
Oh, last stop for the first part.
So that's 2 squads that went to the southern village, and they went straight east. So they're directly south of Radio Bridge. However, their Radio Bridge has quite a bit of visibility around it, especially to the south. They have to come all the way. They have to come more east, and then they might have a chance to push up through wooded areas. This could, I mean, if they keep pushing, if they push far enough east, they could actually get around British forces. British forces all seem to be expecting contact from their west. Now, that's not to say that they won't get spotted, because I believe this southernmost British force has elevation. What they don't have are optics.
Hey Goose, make sure you let me know when you push out.
Not to engage.
Any further visual exit or no?
There's only one person that's almost checking south. And he's probably got orders to watch west. I don't blame him at all. This is Double D here. He's looking west as Russia slips by him to the south. Russians have their mortar fob up. Let's see if this guy is turning around. Ooh, he's repositioned to the south now. He might have a chance to spot someone. This is going to be pretty rough because he has 0 optics. And we have contact.
I'm gonna shoot at him a little bit, see if he goes anywhere. There we go. He's
something shot. I heard shots.
Phoenix, how easy will it be for you to pull
No
your guys
British
back
forces
safely?
are moving yet.
Currently working on fallback positions.
So
right
I
now.
don't
Extra
believe the
setbacks.
British believe
Copy,
they've
can bound
been
back.
shot at.
Yep, that's my only concern. Looking at our positions is getting your guys back safely once you get engaged.
Pony, I have contact direct west, a little bit closer. Still up in the rock overlooking the town.
Cool.
That'll be one
They can
thing
see
the
there as
British
far as I'm
don't
concerned.
need right now. And that is the allurement of
you want
pulling squads out of position.
For that other fighting position.
Copy. Alright, guys.
Client, if you want to switch.
So maybe that contact was of nothing. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't heard a report of an ND
Okay.
on Russia.
For the
But
mortar,
British seem to be
you can
holding
go ahead and
position,
put these
so
dudes
Take
in.
your squad.
Contact spotted, hero. Contact spotted. 005 of me, so directly north of me.
Say again.
Hold on.
Silent has spotted double D here.
Yeah. Hero, direct north. That's like a bipod. One second. I'm gonna get eyes on him.
That seems to be, I think this is Silent Squad in the blue outlines up here,
Contact.
way far.
Juliet 1042. Juliet 104. Hero.
Let's see how close he is. No. He is 2, 3 subgrids off.
1045. He's looking just west right now. He's moving now.
It's about 300 meters off on the call there.
You guys are free to engage down there as needed.
HML has called for free to engage. So why would you take a shot at this distance? You need to close the distance by about 300 meters so that everyone in your platoon could be effective, or everyone in your squad could be effective. Even though, yes, it's wide open, I have faith that you guys will be able to come down here. Although it now looks like Double D is reoriented. More shots out of my right ear. Nothing on command comms yet. I'm taking a look at the map because I want to.
There's also sandbags there, hero.
Because when British feels like they've been engaged, British have the right to cross the river. It's a little operational condition there. Let's take a look. There's another medic here. Jaegerfang.
Hero. It's all open field between us and him, and I don't know how many people are there. So we're gonna try and go around them and get behind them.
Yep.
You might want to follow.
And Silent opting to not stick around and not try to directly move in on him. But he knows his position is here, even if he is off on a grid estimate of it. It's a pretty good call. There's obviously no need to move through the open, even if you have someone not looking at you. Most of the British still keeping a Western posture here. There's been some rifle shots. I've heard them, but I don't know what they're shooting at. The British aren't budging, though. No one's gone across the river. British still have, about 3 squads in relative defense, pretty close to the radio tower. Still a little bit of maneuvering yet needed to happen. Russia is still running 2 squads way to the south. And they're still moving east.
Okay,
and,
directly 60. Direct 60.
They're holding the BTR and another squad in reserve in Gulf 8 across the river. A little bit of a standoff.
Yeah.
But that's the other point north they have. And then if you move more and more,
I say that the British have a mostly Western posture. There are some people looking east, but I feel like the majority of their force are waiting for something to pop over the ridge opposite them.
Based on the information that we have, I'm pretty sure I can pinpoint where Pony has his squads. He's got one at Juliet N4 in that farmhouse, as of what Silent has described. He's got one at Juliet 8-1 in that area.
Juliet 10-4 is wrong. Juliet 10-8 is right.
Northwest of Radio Tower. All of them are OPs with sandbags and placements, so watch out.
And definitely, yep.
You want me to start picking at them?
You're free to fire side with that BTR, yeah.
Okay. BTR is time to engage. We're gonna go over here to the We're gonna take a look at this tow and see where the BTR is compared to it. The tow is manned. But the tow is pointed at the bridge, basically. He's looking for people to come across the bridge. And he's got sandbags to his right. So the BTR comes up north of the bridge. The tow is not going to be able to effectively engage it. And would you look at where the BTR is? It's north of the bridge. By about 400 meters.
Right. There's a bunch of trees.
You need to pull a little bit more to your southeast. Alright, Peach, you should be able to see 094 right now.
Sandbags?
Yes, sandbags.
That's 097 for me. I do not see 094.
I can see the sandbags.
Alright, jump in. Peach, jump in the commander's seat real quick.
I can see them. I can see them moving on the sandbag.
Like, she might have moved away from
I see him moving on sandbags. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's quite a plan that HML's got. HML is going. HML is about to has just ordered a mortar strike, and a simultaneous firing from the BTR.
Fucking idiot.
Peach, what the fuck, man?
You told me to jump in the third seat, so I clicked 3.
He fired smoke. I was like, what is that? I was like, did the British use a mortar?
Why don't I just shoot off like a fucking light show?
Well, the tow can't engage that, but he gave his position away. This is clearly a distraction. An MG has now decided to open up.
Well, I feel slightly retarded.
Sugart says we had a slight issue. I think that's one British dead or one Russian dead. An SL dead.
A-firm.
The first casualty of Sleeping Serpents Part 2. What a shame.
Copy. Okay, that's definitely BTR.
Here comes the BTR.
I got
Rico, can I?
Cannon fire from the north.
You had no eyes on toe.
Negative, no eyes on toe.
Alright, so we should be good.
Let's see if we can find where this thing is shooting out of on my screen.
I'm gonna keep firing.
That seemed like it.
I see Shookheart, and I'm pretty sure that's the squad lead. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, keep firing.
There's one guy who's trying to shoot at around here this route, Zeke. Speaking of shooting at, mortar's coming out. It's just basically covering fire. And Russian smoke mortars covering the main area. This radio compound, making it impossible for anyone to see south out of it.
We're making that line pretty north to south.
So you engage the contact at Hotel 764.
The southern Russians are now east of the entire British force.
They take the rocks. That's when you hit them.
And they are lined up, and I think they're about ready to move out in a platoon line. Or a couple of squads line. They're going to be in formation, let's just say that. Red smoke here. GLs coming in from range. Yeah, Russia has GLs in their squad, so this is someone engaging at range. Too bad there's no British around for this to hit. This was the northwestern OP for the British, and they're all gone. They've pulled back to the more smoke.
Good smoke.
This is just visibility blockers.
Alright, that position is now officially blind and deaf.
And yep, they're looking to deny visibility from a certain direction in a certain area. But let's go back. The Russians in the southeast are now pushing up in a line about 400 meters wide.
This goes for everyone on the west side of the river.
Let's take a look at this real quick, because this is an impressive formation.
Watch out for flanks. Now that we've engaged, they can cross. That's south, north, even west if they're ballsy enough.
We'll take a look at something else in a second, but just look at this formation. This may be hard to see on the stream, but this is 400 meters of platoon of like squad platoon line. This is pretty good spacing for the most. Yeah, well, I was gonna say great spacing, and then we got to here, but something tells me that there's an assault team mixed in with this line that is going to be more of a pushing force than the others. And there is that squad fragmentation. One squad stationary, one squad moving.
We have to keep pushing in here. Let's keep pushing slowly. We're gonna have to cross this bridge quietly, hopefully.
Mortars coming in, 20 seconds.
More mortars inbound.
Copy. I mean, do you want west side of the finger, possibly? So
And there is a British push across the river. One squad. We're with part of them right now on the stream. One squad is pushed across. This is south of the river, or south of the radio bridge by about 300 meters. And they are probably 500 meters, 600 meters away from the Russian mortar base. It's to their northwest.
Either way, squad lead, did you copy my last?
I think they're taking blue on blue fire.
Yeah, I recommend we move around the west side.
I see ricochets. I see bullets hitting the ground right next to someone. I think they were taking blue on blue fire there for a second. Meanwhile, more smoke's going off at the base of radio tower. Yeah, that is, and the BTR is now adding effective fire along that entire wall. You can see them crawling back. Oh, I think I saw someone just kick it. I could be wrong. Yeah, it must have been me seeing things. 0 kills for Russia right now. 1 kill for British.
Get to me. You guys are gonna be on rocks a little bit closer.
More smoke rounds coming out for Russia here. British force that have pushed across, the assault force are slowly getting their bearings and they're slowly moving north.
Actually, Bravo, just hold these rocks over here. I think I'm taking return fire now. I don't want to expose you guys.
Red.
If any squad leaders have any insight on the tow, let me know immediately.
HML definitely wants more information about the British position, and including that tow.
Copy that. All right, Alpha set. Bravo wants
Which
to
ain't a bad idea. It's not a
Right,
bad
we
thing
can
to
lock
remind
up
your
one
squad
shot.
leads
Bravo
about.
clear,
It's
fine, second one,
definitely
bye-bye.
critical information, as Russia's getting really close here. They close to within 200 meters. There are some hills, so let's check it out here.
Hey, Maple and Kahuna, try and stay prone.
Shots
and out
coming
of sight
back.
if you can.
Roger.
X5 Polish engaging by himself
Direct east, copy.
is shooting back at Russians. Terrapin dude able to get some help, but now there's some British soldiers turned around. Seabass included here. The closest ones there are X5 Polish and Londarts. And they've spotted the tow missile. Matter of fact, they killed the tow missile gunner. So, tow missile down for right now. And Brits are falling back.
Alright, I'm just pushing now. Get my guys pulled together.
I'm holding. I have contact west of me.
My guys are reporting they're taking contact across the river. Hold 1.
More smoke's coming down, sort of blocking off the rest of the British platoon to helping. And there's some ricochets of long rounds from the fire that's going on the main compound, hitting over here next to the tow. Lawn darts and company take cover. X5 Polish tries to engage. Has to reload here. X5 Polish shot by Mr. Moneyman. A lat rocket goes off. And there goes Lawn Darts and his assistant gunner here. And the Russians are moving up. Peverino and Quarkley make a run for it. Back to a stronger position. They see where those guys are running to. This is wide open space here. If they move a little bit more, they're going to have a lot of British eyes capable of looking at them. Terrapin, dude. Not able to seal the deal. Getting fire returned on him now. More smokes. Not quite in a helpful position. More smokes coming out still. The Russians using some of these sandbags to maneuver around. And Russians in squad lead, Silent, announcing his intent to commandeer the TOW missile launcher. Terrapin dude found a sandbag. Nails one. This is an amazing spot. This is the problem with building so many distributed fortifications. Because... oh, and here we go. Smoke. Almost right on cue there. This should give more chance for more Russian forces to maneuver. And some blind firing by Terrapin here. Of course, Russia gets GLs. So raining a couple of those in would probably get some kills, I imagine. You just got to hit them within the right range.
BTR is getting a good overwhelm position. I am now sweeping the peninsula.
Alright, Silas is digging up the TOW launcher. Are they trying to rebuild it?
I am not happy to go here.
We have 500 ammo.
Some of your guys provide security for my
I think they undug the TOW. Someone gets shot. I think they might have been friendly.
This is a bad place.
Why do you tell me to go here?
No, I was place up there.
Yeah, we're making contact.
Oh.
There's a huge sandbag. I was gonna help Silas, but yeah.
I see him right
there. I need smokes.
You get out of my way. Yeah, go for it. I'm gonna try to get him.
India 7-5, India 7-2.
No, you're good to move. It's just you're getting shot at.
Range is 250.
So those contacts are
BTR still providing some cover here.
3-5.
It's two real angles that Russia have going on here. BTR is an anchor for one from the west, and there's a good infantry amount of cover, a good amount of cover from infantry coming in from the southeast. The push is sort of snagged in it right now, but soon. It looks like more smoke's coming. It looks like a big infantry push incoming as well.
BTR to me now.
They're not really that far away.
This infantry that's on the suppressing us.
More smoke rounds. May have been a little bit off target. Silence asking for smoke rounds between him and the enemy position.
Alright. Those are our smokes.
What? You're gonna push him with your rocket.
Silence maneuvering his squad to get in position for a big push. They're within about 100 meters of the radio. Oh, I'm sorry, about 200 meters of the radio. And I think they sort of got discovered here.
Any mortars are done, you said?
Mortars are dropping. The rest of our mortars are dropping.
Taking shots.
Anybody here?
Yep.
Perfect.
That's a great amount. That's a great screen right there.
Keep up the mortars a little bit more south and we'll be good.
We're out of ammo on mortars now.
And mortars are dry, I think. They need to go now.
We got the smoke. This is it.
Yep. Silence calling it right now. That smoke's gonna last for another 20 seconds tops. Rocket goes out. I don't think it hit anything. UJ Key leading his element here. More Russians coming in from where the tow was. Or no, what am I looking at over there? What are those guys? They're across the river. I think they're trying to maneuver. There's still a Expats British squad is still on the other side of the river. May have gotten into contact, but they're pushing. They're making the other guys move here. UJK and Merrick getting real close. Here's Merrick. He's trying to add some smoke of his own. A lot of smoke being added here by Russia, but it's reverse slope. They're going downhill to push uphill. Silent is rushing in. They're pushing finally now, but now they have to go up a really steep slope. And a grenade comes out. Just after Silent. Silent throws one over. A little far. More grenades. Silent crawls up, but he might get spotted here. Nope. Silent gets shot in the head by, that was Matt Bob, who was just waiting for someone to do exactly what Silent did. Let's see if we can get a better view of what's going on here. The Russians have pushed into the smoke. Now they got to push out of it, but there's a lot of casualties here. They needed a second angle to push at the same time, and there is a squad. Looks like they're coming out. Yep, there's a squad. The BTR has actually made it to the bridge.
To the north, 015.
The BTR's on the bridge. I imagine they're going to be trying to push that thing across and get it in here to support.
Be safe.
And I believe they've got infantry out. And looks like they're going to try to clear the bridge. Russia, however, still getting people up under the wall. Another squad lead. This is Hero. Gets up to the bunker. Able to take one down. Hero's got more folks that are up now.
Hey, there was infantry, dude, 195.
I think our friendly just hit him.
Right in front of us, infantry in front of us. Infantry right in front. Right here, right in front of your face.
Checking front.
Northeast.
Had to move.
Hey, infantry, get on the side of the rock.
Alright, we gotta fucking deal with this shit to our,
Ooh.
We got contact.
Lima Bean got him, but then got.
Yeah, hold on.
Whoop. Hero finally bandaged. hanging out here with Partisan and Seabass, who's now in charge of two squad leads right next to each other. Bot Rich, Grenadier.
Right there.
Guys, the contact's to the west. I need people moving west,
It's gotten a little closer.
Taking fire from the front of the compound.
I'm thinking there may be 10 to 12 British remaining in this compound. The forces that are across the river, HML Command is leading them, has moved up here. HML leading the charge of his reserve platoon here, reserve squad. HML still up. Now, there's also, as part of this radio area, there's also this downstairs.
Squad leads down.
This is a little self-contained bunker.
Be careful getting close. They're chucking grenades over the wall.
So that's definitely something to watch out for. I imagine several people will be killed trying to get in there.
How the hell? I bandaged.
Now, there has been a British squad across the river, and they still exist, but the Russian forces have all been pushed away from them. They're directly engaging the BTR now.
Who's shooting them?
Oh,
They have a superior advantage on position on them. The BTR is tagging some
People on
people,
the bridge.
We still got him behind.
and the gunner's just looking at these rocks, trying to make sure, because the Brits on the rocks have a visual on enemies pushing the radio tower.
Go ahead and get on the bridge. Go ahead and get on the bridge. Get on the bridge.
BTR trying to maneuver.
Get on the bridge and
If
cover
it
them.
goes through the bridge, though,
They
unless they cleared the bridge, they're gonna have some nasty surprises. And
Cover assault. Oh, fuck, you died.
it looks like they did.
Hold.
Yeah, Assault just died, and he cleared out the last bump. So all they gotta do here is, I think they're gonna have. I think they can drive through this. So what a sacrifice for Assault. Yeah, you can't drive through the barbed wire, my dude. You gotta go around it. You should be able to squeeze through this. Yeah. So mission failure for British. Oh, there's a mine? So we missed that, and I apologize, but oh man. Well, just when you think you're clear, you ain't fucking clear. That is disappointing. You heard the engine rev up, and it was like, let's go straight into the mine. But it's not all hopeless for Russia here. Oops. Our boat goes down to a grenade. No, that's Bot Rich, actually. Sorry. Arbo is part of the Russia's trying to figure out how they're going to clear out this area. I don't know. It looks like there's four British soldiers left inside the compound here. Before they breach this, let's get a little update here. 29 kills for Russians, 30 kills for British. This is very close.
It's a bad area. Clear this area. Clear.
It can go either way at this point. It all depends on how many forces. It depends on two things, right? We can take a look at the map real quick. And you know what? I don't have that much time because the forces that were across, they were pushing the forces that were responsible for pressuring the BTR are now across. They're coming up behind some of the Russians that are remaining, and they have no idea.
Green over here is clear.
I was going to say.
Yeah, outside the bunkers.
I was going to say that it comes down to how many Russians are lost pushing the bunker, or how quickly this squad rejoins. This is X-Bit's squad. X-Bit's leading them back up.
Get off the rooftop, Jack. You're gonna get
Pipe Funk and Kahuna right behind him. X-Bit throws a grenade up. It doesn't quite gank it over the fence. HML able to get away though. 2 more. X-Bit goes down. He forgot to aim. Jack 0800 just destroys him. Of course, Jack 0800 trying to go after him, gets shot in the back. So 3, 4 British outside, I think. He has 4 British outside, 4 British inside. And I believe we're down to 2 Russians. Now it is Silas and HML.
He's dead.
Definitely capable.
Oh, he's at the southeast truck.
Silas definitely saw this guy. Oh, those shots were close.
If I get hit by barbed wire here, I'm dead.
And the grenade comes in. I think it bounces off. It may have hit Silas there. Yep, he's bleeding now. That grenade caused him to bleed, so Silas is out of bandages. And Silas is going to push it. Let's see how he does. 1.
I got him. The last guys are in the bunker.
Oh, and HML goes down behind. Silas with no bandages. This will be GG.
I'm gonna bleed
and
out.
he's going to bleed out very shortly here. Still alive, then gets shot in the side by... that was Lanoid. And that's GG. Round 1, very, very close. British down to less than a squad left. I'm looking at 6 guys left. Down to a fire team plus. That's pretty close. Very close. Lots of shenanigans. And that was round 1. Of course, now we're going to switch teams. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back for round 2 in just a few minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out to SOTT Basic. I'm your instructor today, Hammering Hutch. You guys can simply just call me Hutch. When we are suppressing an enemy target, the whole intent of this is to keep the enemy's head down so an adjacent unit can maneuver onto them. During this process, we have a thing that happens automatically and organically, whether it be with buddy teams or fire teams. The whole intent is to ensure there's no lull in the gunfire, thus talking guns. Open fire. Contact front. Alpha, down. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down. Bravo, bound. I'm up. He sees me. I'm down. All right, Bravo set. Alpha up. He sees me. I'm down. You're now in what is known as a file. You're now in what is known as a staggered column, and usually used when on patrol, or when moving from one location to another where contact is imminent. And these are a few of the basic formations that we use during squad ops. The SOTT Advanced Weapons Systems course was created to ensure Squad Ops participants share the same knowledge and understanding of the use and applications of mission-specific weapons and the basic tactics involved in their deployment. The Automatic Rifleman. The Automatic Rifleman is the foundation of a fire team and/or squad. The job of the Automatic Rifleman is to deliver a high volume of prolonged, effective suppressing fire on enemy positions to allow the maneuver of friendly units during offensive operations and the repelling of enemy attacks in defensive operations. The Grenadier, a key member of the fire team and squad, the Grenadier is first and foremost a rifleman who is capable of delivering accurate fire of both high explosive and smoke rounds on point and area targets at varying distances. One of the other added benefits of the Grenadier is to engage dead space, which is essentially an area that cannot be hit by direct fires. The Light Anti-Tank Gunner. Soldiers carrying light anti-tank weapons are, just as Grenadiers, riflemen first. They are the ideal infantry-based counter to both lightly armored and thin-skinned vehicles. At short, medium, and far distances, the rockets fired are a viable weapon against groups of infantry as well. The SOTT Advanced Weapons Systems course, although not a requirement, is highly encouraged for Squad Ops participants to join to expand their knowledge of how to utilize the tools that are given to us within Squad.
Welcome back to Squad Ops One Life events. We're in for round 2, session 2. Sleeping Serpents, part 2. That's a lot of 2s. And someone has driven a Logi into the back of a warrior. 10 out of 10 would drive again. We're going to follow the Brits to their deployment point. Sleeping Serpents, part 2. Unlike other campaigns, campaign sort of things, it's not quite mission 1, mission 2 the same with the same sides, like a typical campaign would be. We are playing both sides for each mission, or rather, each session plays both sides of the operation. If that makes no sense to you, it makes sense to me and in my head somehow, sometime, in some space, so I apologize. Let's start over. I am Bcarr. Shadowed Ritual is producing, and we've got a round of One Life operation coming to you. Sleeping Serpents Part 2. Round 1, rather. What happened just before the break. You know, I think it was probably Russia's strongest chance to win, and it got bogged down a little bit too hard. I think they had an advantage, and they stopped a bit too long to coordinate more smokes to cover their advance. Now, I think it would have worked. I think it would have worked if the smokes had been more on point. I mean, that whole idea in general, that's kind of what you're supposed to use them for. But I think the smokes were just a little bit off. And it wasn't effective in the grand scheme of things. It was effective towards the end and towards the beginning of their push on the radio compound. But there were several instances where the smokes were off point by as much as 40, 50 meters and unable to really help at all. Of course, last round was at Radio Bridge. Per the operation, this round will be at North Bridge. And North Bridge is located in Kilo 9. No, I'm wrong. Kilo 3. And it's the northern part there. So this is the bridge that the British are going to control this round in an attempt to blockade against the Russians. The Russians have to use this bridge. The only way vehicles can cross the river is by the bridge, which of course means that they can use the rest of the river to cross as infantry. However, being at this part of the map, there's a lot of limitations. I mean, for example, the map border is only 400 meters north of here. Or maybe a little bit more than that, but it's still about 400 meters north of here. And if you consider where this bridge is, we already got engineers placing mines. British are limited to 2 mines on the bridge. British are also beginning to dig in. Let's see if we can find their radio location real quick. I lost my mind. They haven't put down one yet. Okay, so that's fine. But the top of this hill, there's a lot of visibility. Now, it is going to be difficult for someone down here to see someone coming on the other side of that hill. So Russia could very well, if the British aren't spread out properly, Russia could sneak a force in on this side of this finger, this peninsula, up on top of this hill, and caused some serious organizational problems. But before we head on over to that, there's the matter of telling everyone who's on what side, because, you know, commanders execute plan, or commanders have plans, squad leaders execute plans. These people are important people. They help us get our events, you know, done, because they're here volunteering their time to lead everyone else through it. And I gotta say, HML, which is going to be our commander for British, has done some pretty good things. And he is fairly new, but he's got some good results lately. His squad leads for this round are going to be Silent, Axe Gaming, Hero, and Shigart. Unless I've totally messed that up. No, I'm right. Pony will be commanding Russia, so you'll get to hear a little bit of him on comms. The command comms, by the way. His squad leads are Rose Dragon, Lawn Darts, Phoenix, and Xbit.
AR.
Excuse me. It's I meant to say Silent the Master and Lawn Darts the Master. You can fix that and fix that in post, right?
These 3 vehicles.
Right, Shadow. You can fix that in post.
There should be though, because there's the BTR. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, use the BTR. BTR has this.
He, of course, tells me the truth at all times and says no. Okay. Oh, you know what? I was expecting to hear command comms, and I totally can't do that if I don't have a squad. I should now be able to hear the plans as we get a lifetime of 2 minutes away.
Okay. Yeah, like whatever. We're just abandoning it and the transport trucks on the peninsula, to be honest. So it's all.
And here's their tow missile launcher.
That's squad for you.
And for some reason, they've built a full wall in front of it. The tow missile launcher does not teleport 5 meters in front of the tube. It must travel outside of the tube.
If we end up wanting to use smokes to make them think we're attacking from a certain place, make sure you're...
Shadow is actually in my ear. He's brought up something I didn't think of this, and this is too crazy for me to think of, but this is a possible idea. 2 people man the square where the tow is. 1 person is in charge of spotting. The other person is in charge of gunning. And the spotter, once the decision is made to engage, the spotter gives the gunner the orientation. The spotter undigs the top row of sandbags here. And the gunner, presumably aimed in the right place, makes final corrections and then fires.
20 seconds.
Now, actually, they might have to dig up both sandbags. I think the tow missile launcher is placed too far away. Because I think you have to dig up the second set of sandbags. As we go live here, the British continue to reinforce their base here.
Oh, okay. You guys were holding brakes until
and the gunner Terrapin dude is going to be the tow missile launcher user.
We're gonna get there before they could possibly get there.
So great set of animations there.
Sure. Yeah, why not? That's gonna be the fastest way to do it.
Up in the hills, far east, and they can watch the map border that we were worried about at the beginning, as well as our southern flank.
And let's do a little reset on where people are coming from. Russia's coming from Maine.
Everyone is underneath.
The British basically start at the bridge, still building defenses. The Russians are going to have a BTR-80, a couple of transports, and some lodges, because they get to put down a mortar base. And this mortar base can fire smoke mortars to cover, to distract, while the British get to defend the bridge. And they are also able to place things like razor wire on the bridge itself. And someone's going to have to pop out and undig these things, as well as mines. Just laying on the bridge, but they're active mines. Depending on how Russia attacks this bridge, the Russian convoy has taken a wrong turn. Now they are U-turning. I wonder if is Best Pony.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I believe Best Pony has the BTR under his control.
So who forgot that we can't mark on the map?
Command element in a BTR? What? You think to yourself, but it makes a lot of sense to Pony. But I'm sure he'll get out and use binocs when necessary. I'm sure he'll be a good commander. What am I saying? Of course he's a good commander.
And I get yelled at for saying nothing.
For what?
Never mind.
Well, at least he's an A commander.
We just politely ask people to stop memeing during pre-op.
I can't hear you, Joe.
To not meme around during pre-op, kind of like, for example, what I did and asked the server password.
That wasn't me.
Okay. And now the battlefield begins to take shape. Russian forces are completely dismounting at India 4, India 5, to the southwest of the main point. And it looks like they're going to send some infantry across the river here. This is like 2 peninsulas over. This is closer to the radio than it is closer to their objective. All the infantry is actually moving here. The spacing leaves much to be desired.
Alright, everybody set? Alright, 3, let's go.
But Xbit is leading the infantry across the river. The entire platoon is dismounted, aside from the people necessary to run the BTR.
I think we're well enough south that they're not going to expect this.
Alright, we're gonna keep moving to the east. I don't know what it looks like over here, so just don't crest yet.
All right. A squad and a half left behind.
He wants to see if we survive it.
2 squads pushed over the river here. Ah. There is something to watch out for, and that is British spotters in the village to their direct south.
One will move when 4 reaches the far base.
Just in Lima 5-9. This is Guessing Man and John Cena. And they're holding this building, which is in the depression of the field that's adjacent to. Odds are these guys won't be able to tell what's actually coming at them until the last second. So very much in not a great position. They're effectively canaries in the coal mine. And they're moving, actually. Maybe they have a better position in mind. Which, I mean, I would hope.
Or are you going to slot in to the left of 3? Or do you want to?
And compared to the village here, the Russians are beginning to move southeast. They're still southwest of it at this point. But they're going to try to skirt all the way around the field. Uh-oh. ND.
Shot. What was that?
Russian ND. But do these British guys hear it? Man, if someone under my command had an ND, they would be on trash duty for the rest of that op. What happens when you accidentally push the left mouse button on your mouse? It's bad news, especially when you're trying to be sneaky in operations like this. When you have to at least give your opposing force a moment of pause to consider all of the different ways you could be coming.
I would say that it's probably not necessary, but if you feel that's the safest course, then feel free.
John Cena and Guessing Man definitely unsure of where they want to be. I think they're just clearing the buildings because they want to. Not because they have like any significant advantage. Maybe they're just trying to find a elevated point here.
30 minutes before they even got like in shooting distance, so I don't feel too bad if you guys take like a billion-year flank on them.
2 is gonna use the tree line between the builds.
Now this is a better position. Yeah, even though you won't be able to really. Well, maybe you can use a bipoded weapon against that. Yeah, this is the position you want. At least one person's looking the proper way. Russian forces now about 600 meters to contact. Maybe closer to 5. Russians making good use of the defilade to this whole town. They're pushing pretty close here. Now we're within about 400 meters. If someone skylines at the wrong time, these guys might be able to tell because there's probably just enough contrast between the field and people that are in it and the green trees behind. Oh, you can actually see people all the way out here. So yeah, definitely line of sight on these guys. Closing to within about 300 meters now. This is the squad led by Phoenix.
Kilo 3-9 is more or less where they're at. With a whole bunch of shit on the rocks.
Those two guys we were talking about.
What's up?
Stick your nose in there. No, I was just saying your nose was in Zeke's ass, so just slow down and let things.
If you lean, you're closer to the ground.
We'll reset here. 2 still moving east. I wonder how much further east they're going to move. I think I overheard command asking them not to overextend. But they're still using their judgment. Speaking of command, they're actually observing northeast or northwest. And they've ditched the BTR. This is kind of fascinating to me. Like, why? What? I mean, I guess this is a distraction play to set it up, but you're trying to get information for your team before you do something dumb and get yourself shot by a tow or something like that. And if Pony goes down in this group, I mean, that's bad news. Let's see what Pony can actually see from here, which I'm assuming is nothing.
Yeah, okay, they are definitely expecting an assault from Juliet 2. They have lots and lots of fortifications facing this way.
Okay.
They have at least 2 full squads facing this way as well, so only half their team is going to be facing back towards you, if any of them are.
All right, so Pony suspects that the hell was that noise?
West, guess, man. So they're going to be coming.
That was weird. Pony expects half the team to be expecting a northwest approach.
K5-2, roughly.
Can you mark it?
Or an assault from the northwest.
I cannot mark it.
Oh.
Big ass field at K5. Remember my first stop. I'd wait and line up a good shot and just dome one of them, dude.
Getting a report that British have spotted Russian infantry Kilo 522, which, according to my map, is not occupied, but the closest element is Squad 1.
Guess, pull or get to a position where you can fall back easily if they start getting to the town.
Squad 1 being run by...
What's the best way to cross open field? Clump together.
Rose Dragon. And I wonder if John Cena and Guessing Man spotted them, because they're exiting their building now. I wonder if Squad 1 just was trying to catch up and they cut a route too close to where these guys could see them. Now, these guys don't have optics or anything like that. But like I said, I think there's just enough contrast between the field and where the trees behind them that a Russian uniform would step out. So if these two guys spotted them, great call. We can't confirm anything quite yet, but this does mean that British might be trying to reinforce a southern against a southern attack here.
I'd prefer if you guys didn't actually go into the town, but if the line's that big, then
There's 3 squads set up here.
I would really prefer that you guys move more towards the map border and not be in the town at all if possible, and stick to the right side of the road.
Pony wants an extreme east flank. And 2 will oblige, joining 3. 4 is trying to catch up. Way to, they're about 200 meters south of the rest of the assault element here.
I prefer the clump of trees that's about 100 meters in front of it.
Where's my fire team at? Y'all left me behind.
What? I'm right here. I'm just staying spread out.
A little bit of spacing issue here. It's one of those things that gets corrected by a squad leader. And squad 3 moving forward. Not a lot of chatter, but
weapons, so make sure you transverse your shots, meaning left or right, a couple of degrees. Provide more suppression, keep the heads down.
2, I have some straight barbed wire just north of the town, approximately lean about 4 or 5 to our north.
Let's go.
Copy that, thank you.
I think you give him a pass for that.
God, dude, I have to get up at 5 tomorrow.
What do you do? Enough to work?
No, there's a race that I signed up for. I need to be at.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad the Russians are getting in some conversation right now because they got it's some interesting terrain in front of them. It is wooded in some parts, but there are draws that are extremely open.
Big fucking death trap.
Copy that bullshit.
Yeah, they're just random draws in this forest that just are clear for about a good 100 meters. And even still, the direction they're going to have to go, there's plenty of British Overwatch. Speaking of British Overwatch, the easternmost element for the British forces, it seems to be this buddy team. This is Zarbo and S. Klein. They've got the easternmost patrol here. It might come into play. Something tells me that I think there's going to be a squad that pushes directly in front of Arbo here. In squad 3, it could be squad 3. I think squad 2, I don't know. I don't think squad 2. I think squad 3 will end up pushing all the way up here to Arbo's position. Pony's reconsolidated his command cadre. And he's providing a lot more direct reconnaissance here against the British base. And Russia are now once again within 200 meters-ish. 200 meters-ish. Yeah, 200-ish meters of contact within Squad 3. John Cena and the other spotter have fallen back to a squad leader. Sugart, Guessing Man is the other guy. And with optics, I imagine that John Cena's mini-me is going to be put to some use here very shortly. They're getting pretty close here. Within 100 meters. I think this is the general assault push for Squad 1. Squad 1 pushing directly onto Sugart's position with a couple of his guys.
Say again for Rose.
I don't think... Ooh, there's a little split in the line here. And Shughart goes prone here. Something tells me. I wonder if he saw something.
Copy.
Everyone is prone. These guys are all prone. I think they understand what is happening. There is engagement happening. Guessing Man is the most exposed, and he's trying to crawl back. I think Dr. Stalker might see him. He's not looking up. Oh, he's crawled back up. He might see Rose. He's shooting at Rose, but I think he missed. Rose is bandaging, so he didn't. Or is he throwing smoke? I thought he was bandaging. Guessing Man gets out of there, but Sugar goes down to a grenade thrown past Guessing Man.
Problem with this fucking hill, they got good fucking they got good eyes.
John Cena still can't be seen.
Okay, so this will...
The magic won't last for much longer. And Russia pushed in way far here. They're pushing straight to Arbo's position.
He dug down, but he's there.
Yeah, one, you permission to do that.
Okay,
Four,
I'm.
fill the gap between 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 take the ridge, and Mike 3.
And Arbo's falling back.
They're right behind you, Arbo.
Pony asking for some order here.
Push west. Push west.
Uh
We're gonna give him this fucking fortification.
oh.
Crazy's down.
One more dead.
I'd say we probably want to fight this position over. I don't know if we can get out of here. They're this close.
Suppressing the sandbag up there. This is our Herb. X Gaming to try and coming over to investigate. That's a squad lead. And he's throwing grenades. A little far away.
They're right here. They're
I think
right
Arbo threw another grenade.
They're on top of us right now. We're trying to pull off.
And
but
now
they're
Axe and Arbo running away.
Copy that 4. 3. Let's see if you can support squad 4.
And Axe's squad have given up the rock line here, the rocky ridge. It was a long range rocket shot.
BTR took a frontal hit, no damage from the toe.
Oh, reportedly the toe launched at the BTR and took 0 damage. This I have to see. If the toe missed the BTR,
I guess there might be a chance to bounce if the missile doesn't hit.
something tells me the toe missed and it wasn't a direct hit with 0 damage.
I'm gonna be going down here. Squad 3, so you can do the support contact on the east.
There's a rock right here you can get to. I'll try and cover.
You can barely see Vindication is injured. Oh, I wonder if the toe will shoot again.
Man, do you want one to push through this field, or do you want us to go around?
I would say field. Bad idea. Get up on the ridge and provide cover fire for 2, 3, and 4 while they assault across the field and toward the mountains and leave a 3.
Copy that.
security
I
on the
wouldn't
south.
step out too far. They're just
Have
dropping
one
shots
fire
on
team
me right
looking
now.
east, one fire team south.
I wonder if they've abandoned the BTR for right now. It's definitely occupying the toe. The Russian forces, nice organized line here. And they want to, they're slowly starting to push their advantage.
Find the road.
Some British forces on a lower rock.
Alright, fan out. 10-meter spacing. Try to stay in the cover.
Alright, one is slotting in now.
British forces trying to get some cover here. Oh, the mini-me gets a deployed position, and then there's another AR back of a couple of them. We got an update here. 5 kills for Russia, 2 kills for British.
Alright, Bravo, you can bound up a buddy team. Leave the MG set there.
Expert pushing through here. He's sort of the forwardmost Russian squad right now. He's pushing along the North River. And he's got himself plenty of depression from where...
I don't see him.
But that just means he's going to have to fight uphill to clear those positions. And that's never easy. He's also sort of surrounded in his forward area by all British forces. And he needs more people to push with him. The rest of Russia needs to push along right now, or Expert needs to stop pushing, actually. Is also a thing that could probably need to happen right now. British are falling back a little bit, but not in Expert's direction.
Alright, let's try and, are you taking heavy contact, Londarts?
Still some long-range fire happening here. There's a report of 4 being flanked from the southwest.
Nope, I don't want you to
there's
let them
no
know
one to force southwest.
Let's keep quiet. Let's wait until Bravo's in place and then we can push up on them.
There are 0 people to force southwest.
Contacts direct to our south. You can hear the gunfire.
a defensive cordon here to try and catch
Londarts.
I got visual on him, 184. He just crested.
Pump nades into him if you can.
I'm holding. I'm gonna try and save my nades for when we're breaching.
He's holding his element back.
I'm no longer seeing very many.
Yeah, they're running towards our position now.
Meanwhile, there are some Russian elements that have moved themselves into British sandbags.
Fall back.
This is some pretty good shots.
Try to get to the sandbags to the fallback point, guys.
Almost on point there. Expert is pushing into much harder resistance now. He's getting shot at. Xbit pushes too far and goes down. His squad is still the furthest west element, but he pushed onto a strong point that was still being guarded because the rest of Russia didn't push. Since this last round of fighting, 7 kills for Russia, 5 kills for British.
You know what? We got smokes for a reason. Pop them over the hill.
How's the flank going? Are you holding the flank?
Getting pretty even here.
Put smoke at the top of this hill.
Copy. Alright, top of smoke for you guys if you can pull out. Go ahead.
Squad 3's now acting lead. Jaegerfang asking for his squad to throw smokes up.
Didn't want anybody marked on the enemy or something.
Alright, they're to our northwest still. Let's try and get in this little fleet to our left.
Honestly, I warned experts that who would get caught in a crossfire. There were guys northwest.
And here we go. This
He was kind of
shit happened, so he had to.
We're making the same mistake, guys. Look at
element's still moving west.
Yeah, I know there's guys over there. There's a little deflate here.
2 is overlapping him to their north now. Maybe 1 and 4 should get into the war now.
Alright, I've crested the hill over on this side.
There's no reason to hold back. There's no one to their south. Yeah, there's no one to their south. 4 is seeing imaginary flankers. Guessing man suicides, which means maybe a grenade was short, or it could have been a GL that went off.
Tied one of them up.
Yeah, we did not.
2's getting pinned. Presumably by Juzu and 38.
Are you guys eating here?
The BTR is now one, yeah, in that case, assault up. I'm gonna go try and relink with the platoon as well. I'm having the BTR cover me while I cross the river.
Okay, so if I just heard that correctly, Pony is going to run across the river by himself, and the BTR is going to help him. All right, let's find the tow. The tow is...
Not seeing any tracers, dude.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh shit. Alright, come over here. It's like right.
I believe the tow is on top of the hill here. But I may not be 100% correct.
No?
6-6. Copy.
BTR is covering. Pony is still watching. Russia's still pushing up, but I think British have probably compressed themselves as much as they can go.
Guys, they're pushing east. Watch the top of that ridge. I would especially watch northeast as well. I think that's where it's heaviest.
Give me the TK message. Oh wow, I made it. And now I don't.
BTR still by itself. Oh, gets one on top of a rock.
Alright, we got a full squad moving east. directing his head here.
He's just copy.
Ragdolls are wonderful things. And what's great is that the toe has 0 angles on this. Unless they remake the toe, which I don't think they can. By the way, Pony made it across. And now the BTR is by itself.
They're crossing the river northeast, right?
When you dissolve the gunner.
2, let's move over here. Assault these cliffs. This is a good place to assault. 4, I need you moving up to join 1 and 3. They're on the rock. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. If we go up these cliffs over here, we got BTR cover.
BTR is making a name for itself over here, attracting some attention. Something tells me the Brits are going to be having at it soon, and then you can see the shadow of an AT unit.
All right, go to the left across the. Just like follow the train track and I'll take this.
Command, this is 4. Haven't seen any movement.
The
Get up to 1 and 3. 1 and 3 running a little low on people. Fresh bodies in there.
Maneuvering just out of the way. BTR is now directly north of the Russian forces. Ooh, the bucket was short.
We took damage.
How much? 2/3?
We're at 2/3. No, we won. We're at 2/3.
Okay, that's.
Yep, maybe it was a hit. And another dead British soldier there.
Be careful of friendlies. Friendlies are mixed in with that.
Yeah, I can see which ones they are. Pulls backwards, just go straight.
Get a reset here. 16 kills for Russia, 16 kills for British.
Keep going.
Nice and even.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Let's push up with command here. Pony is pushed all the way up here. Gets himself a kill.
Good shooting. Are we guys? Any casualty? Alright, no, we're good.
The protective pocket here for British has slowly gone down. Sonny dead though.
Well, fuck.
Indeed.
We got a bunch of rogue dudes hanging out in one snooze. We're trying.
Alright, copy.
Pony's got himself stuck in a bad place. Sergeant JC unable to really get himself out. I guess Pony's better cover than Sergeant JC does. But...
Hold on, Bloom, let it bloom.
Squad 4 still in reserve here, finally starting to move in because Squad 1 is gone, and Squad 2 is also gone, and Squad 3 is all but gone. Matter of fact, Squad 3's leader here, Jagerfang, I think he's all by himself. I think he's lost his the rest of his fire team. 4 is pushing up pretty close though.
Contact is on K261 rocks. K26 rocks.
Getting a report here. They're still hunting that BTR. British are.
Within 20 meters.
They dispatched a fire team to go look into it. Another rocket shot.
Oh shit, we're northwest. Tracer's northwest across the creek.
Northwest.
I should not have lived that. Yeah, you should not have.
I think Russia tried to shoot a rocket. It was a little over.
Anyone have bombs with Merrick?
TOW is not occupied. Although the BTR is visible, they're not using the TOW. Maybe they're out of ammo here.
I believe the remainder of contact is on the west and direct
Well,
east.
that's what happens when TOW missiles are 500 points to reload. Now that I believe he's popping vehicles, the BTR. Some pretty tight sandbag traps here. And command goes down.
Hi guys, who's in charge?
That's funny. Pony's ragdoll here is pointing directly towards the people who shot him. He was trying to tell people where Terrapin Dude was. Russia still trying to reconsolidate here, and no real command comms to speak of going on. But they are assaulting this point that British Squad 3 has been holding for a while now. Polish goes down to a frag. I wonder if Russia has any of their own. Can Lawn Darts, the master, pull one out here? He's bandaging. The rest of his platoon is shooting at nothing. Yeah, the rest of his platoon shooting at nothing. Lawn Dart's close to contact is the other side of this sandbag line. And I wonder if Lawn Dart saw Angry Frog here. And he's asking for his platoon, or he's asking for his squad to waste more ammo. But it seems to be working. Lawn Dart's pushing up here. No one's literally looking at him.
Could be someone here on the sandbags that their cells on. If I go down, you know, there's a guy here.
Alright, we're the last squad, eh?
Yeah, we got a lot.
Lawn Darts gets taken out by Lima Bean because he was doing the 360 on the ground too much. Pepperino. That was a bunch of misses here. Oh, stand up. Bacon Batman goes down, as does for Cancino. Okay. And now it's just Sharp by himself. So Lawn Dart squad getting pretty much cut up here. I think the BTR is pushing the river. Oh, it's pushing the bridge. It's getting close to it. There's actually someone over there. It's Merrick. Merrick has a rocket tube on. Merrick cresting. Oh yeah. Direct shot. There it goes. The rear side armor of the BTR goes down. 2 shots. You can't stand. Merrick with the shot of the match. I gotta say. He could have waited for a rear angle shot on that BTR, but he didn't. He took the shot he knew he could make, even though he's only got 1 shot. And now it's time to see how many Russians remain, and I'm pretty sure it's like 1. 24 kills for Russia, 34 kills for British. We're nearing the end of this here, and I'm pretty sure there's only 1 Russian left. Yeah, it's the medic Sharp here. And he gets spotted. I think Silas or Terrapin dude saw him. Also Silence over there. Sharp takes a hit at takes a shot at Terrapin and nabs him. Turtle down to bandage. Sharp continued moving, but I think Silent has a good shot on him, and he took a hit there. He's trying to hide behind the tire here. Ooh, Silent still taking some shots at him. Oops. Elite 2198 decides to look in the right direction and ends the round. British secure the bridge against a Russian assault.
I'll take my one.
GG. So at the end there, 24 kills for Russia.
GG, it was a good try.
35 kills for British.
Game, everyone.
We've got a chance to ask a couple questions of the commands. We're going to get them in here shortly for a little after a little post-op debrief. But Russia not able to swing it as closely as round one in round two. The idea was good, but there was just too many execution errors and not enough commitment to the push. And I think HML, one of our commanders, is with us to talk about what just happened. Round two feels pretty good, man. What do you think?
You're right. Feels pretty good, man. Surprising win. I was kind of surprised to win. I know Pony's a very experienced commander, and he has bested me before, and I'm quite proud. But all in all, it doesn't really come down to that. Pony did have a better plan. He executed it well. It came down to SLs and the shooters, and it was pretty close all in all. It was about a...
Yeah, I mean, I think for round two, the plan was pretty good. There was some execution problems on Russia for that round. And Pony, I mean, is Pony in here right now? Okay, cool. As far as round two, Pony, did you realize your squads were holding back? Or was that an intentional squads, because I think it was squads 3 or squads 2 and 3 were trying to push forward. Squad 1 ended up having a base of fire on an elevated position, and that was cool. But squad 4 saw mysterious flankers. As far as your plan on round two, do you think it could have really been done with 2 squads?
I think ultimately Squad 4 needed to be in the fight a little earlier, but so did I take it if they're mysterious flankers, did the flankers actually exist?
That's a negative. They did not exist.
Okay, well, yeah, in that case, that's probably where everything went wrong, because it was supposed to be 4, 2, and 3 assaulting and 1 suppressing, and instead, because there were reports of flankers, I was concerned with 1 security, so I decided to do an initial assault of 2 and 3 with 4 reinforcing, which did not quite pan out.
I mean, I feel like the second round plan for Russia was more what was better overall. But round one, I didn't expect it to get that close. It's kind of like the right people in the right time, really, when it came down to Russia's assault there in round one. But anyway, thanks, guys, for answering a couple of questions for me. It's HML and Pony, our 2 commanders for the night. Thank you guys for coming out and taking your time to help us run these events.
No problem. Thanks for commentating, as always. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. And we'll let them get on into they have a little meeting they do after one of these operations. It's kind of important. We'll let them get onto that. But anyway, to wrap this up, thank you for coming by to watch tonight. This has been Sleeping Serpents Part 2. And we heard from Expert earlier today, there may be more parts of this coming up very soon. So if you want to be the first to know when those are happening, squadops.gg. Go on our website, look at the calendar, because the calendar will list all of our active operations that you can sign up for if you have basic, that is. If you don't have basic, got to sign up for that. Squadops.gg links to all of our social media, all of our places where you can watch the stream on a few different platforms. At least Twitch and YouTube come to mind. And of course, you can follow us on there to get live notifications when we go live. We broadcast these events on Saturdays twice a day and on Wednesday evenings. And your times may vary, but the calendar on our website does not. It always has your local time zone. So use that for a sort of bearing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bcarr. Thanks to Shattered Ritual on the production, managing the multicam, and all of our POV streamers for this operation, giving us pretty good shots. And with that, I will say good night. We will see you next Wednesday.